Okay, today we'll start off with SERVLET. Okay, so before I start SERVLET, I'll tell you how important SERVLET is first. Okay, and what I'll be covering and all that. So then we'll start off with SERVLET. See, SERVLET is very important. Okay, and it's on last class I gave an introduction. It is a very powerful web technology which is used for what? Development of web applications. So that's why SERVLET will be using for developing web application. But one more thing, this one technology only will not be sufficient to develop web applications. More technologies will be needed. So that is why see it's a link now. If you know SERVLET, later on you'll be learning something called as JSP. So if you know SERVLET only, then only you can understand what? JSP. That's the link. And if you know JSP only, you can learn some other advanced technologies like struts, JSF and all that. Understood? So JSF means Java Server Face. It's a link. Many people think that, okay, if I learn SERVLET, okay, it's over. But actually there next it will be a continuation. Understood? So if you know SERVLET only, you'll understand JSP. If you know JSP only, you'll understand what? JSF. So do not neglect this because this is the foundation for other technologies. Which technology? JSP as well as JSF or even struts and all that. So it will be a heavy link. So learn this. And if you know all this only, you can develop what next? A web application. Done? Understand how applications are developed. So we are here to develop either web application or distributed application. Then next, see one more thing. If you want to develop which one? Plus JSF, a distributed application. Either you will use what? Web service or EJB. All this plus it is or now. All these you will use plus what? SERVLET web service or EJB forms. EJB means Enterprise Java Bean, distributed application. So any company you go now, you join Infosys, Wipro or any company you go, all companies, majority of them are working on what? Either web application or distributed application only. So if you want good jobs, you have to know these technologies now. It's simple. So now that is the reason SERVLET becomes very important now. So it is the foundation of what? Everything now. Then next. I will be training you SERVLET. See, most of the institutes, they do SERVLET in 2 days and finish it off. And they'll tell SERVLET is over. I will not be doing like that. I will be going very in-depth into SERVLET. Okay. And to what level I will be going, it means I will be doing in-depth is, see, after my SERVLET training consists, means it's equivalent to, there's an exam which is conducted by this Sun people. Okay. That exam is called as SEWCD. But now that the company has been taken over by Oracle. See, generally, whenever you learn some technologies, now you will do some certification course, certifications. Where, like, if you do networking, now you'll do on CCNA certification. Like for database, there's one certification. For Java also, there's one certification called as what? SCJP, like that. Even for SERVLETs and JSP, there's one certification. So, but see, earlier this certifications was from when this SCJP is an exam for Java language, and SCWCD means Sun Certified Web Component Developer is an exam for SERVLET and JSP. So when it was when Java was under the control of Sun, or when Sun was owning this, that time the certification names were these. When Oracle took over Sun, they changed the name of that exam. Everything is same, okay, but they changed the name of that exam to OCPJP, Oracle Certified Professional Java Programmer, and this one means it's an exam for Java language, and OCEJWCD means Oracle Certified Expert Java Web Component Developer, means it's an exam for which one? SERVLETs and JSP. This is the exam. So now see, more than telling in the interview, like I know SERVLET, if you go with this certification which is given to you by whom now? Sun people or Oracle people, that talks a lot. Simply putting in your resume, I know SERVLET, that is different story, and you actually carrying a document like this is more valid, where you have high chances of getting job. So I'll be training you from this level. Understood? Means it's not like we are not, if you in other institutes they'll hardly teach 2 examples and say SERVLET is over, but I'm not training you to that level. Clear? So understand. So this I already completed, SCJP I already completed for yes or no? Core Java I already completed SCJP. So now I'm going with the next certification, that is SCWCD, but today it is known as OCEJWCD. One more certification I'm covering now. Done. So now please understand that I will be covering SERVLET from these points of view. Which point of view? SERVLET will be covered from, say this, from industry point of view. I'll not be covering 2 examples unlike other institutes. Okay, then I'll be covering it from certification point of view. Then 3, I'll be showing you how to develop a web application. I will do a mini project also and see how to develop an application point of view. I'll be showing you. So industry level, certification level, and as well as your interview point of view. So SERVLET will be covered from all these angles now. Clear? So in depth I'll be going, but it doesn't mean that I'll be taking too long also. Hardly 10 classes you are up with what? All these things. And with this you can get a job also. So this is what you have to understand now. Next. So we will now, okay, what we'll do is now we'll start off with our SERVLET. Now we'll start off with SERVLET. So what is SERVLET? Yesterday's class or last class I gave some information about SERVLET, little, right? Some minor information I gave you. So SERVLET is a web technology which is used for what? Development of web applications. Web applications are server-side applications. So fine. So again we'll go and understand what is web application. Okay. Are you clear with this definition? Huh? Be clear. And this is the same definition you have to tell in the interview also. So fine. Now see this. First, I'll make you again understand what is website. See, in website, you'll type something, www.com, the .com business, something like that. What will happen? You'll get back the response. You'll make a request and you'll get back the response. This is website. And here what you'll be having? You'll be having on server, and here you'll keep your some HTML files. Something like any name you can keep. 1.html file. You'll keep your HTML file. 2.html file. Like that you'll keep your HTML file. So yesterday I told you developing website is very easy today, because see, hardly you have to write your HTML file and put it into the server now, because see, there are a lot of problems you face while developing a website. Okay, and all that support has been given to you in what? All that support has been given to you built in, like the support for TCP/IP, networking, communication, HTTP. Okay, all that has been given to you built in. So we use the server that is ready made. Okay, so hardly you have to write this, what you want to display, that HTML file you have to write. So there are various problems you face, but all those problems are already solved for you, because the infrastructure support has been given to you. Means what infrastructure support means? Whatever the problems you face while developing a website, all that has been provided to you. You don't have to write the code now. See, here you have to write 2 things. One, you have to write the logic for infrastructure. Infrastructure means your website should be able to accept the request, give back the response, networking, all that it has to take care. Plus you have to write what? Plus you have to write the code for your website. 2 things. So nowadays what we developers do is, we don't write this. This is built in for us. We write only this code. Much easy now. So this is what is website. So now see, let's come to, because see, now website is not important for us. This is website. The story is about website. Now we don't want to develop website. What is the use of website? Because companies do not need website. They need what? Enterprises or organizations need web applications. So when they need web applications, so you have to develop now a web application. So let's see what a web application is. Clearly understand what is a web application. So it will be something like this. So this is web application now. Web applications are dynamic, unlike a website which is static. So here we will be telling something like this. Enter name, enter password. Like this you will give some values to your application. Okay, and here some logic has to execute now. Some logic has to execute, and it has to give back the response now by telling what? Welcome or not welcome, something like this. We need dynamic. Means we want our application to be dynamic now, not static. This will be the request and this will be the response. We have a requirement in hand now. We have a requirement and we need to develop these kind of applications. And why do you want this kind of applications? It's simple, organizations need this. So we are supposed to develop this now. So here now, if you want to write a logic, HTML will not support you. Yes or no? Because here see, values are coming. We are getting the name, password and all that. Enter name, enter password, submit. You'll be doing this. You'll enter the name, you'll enter the password, you'll submit the values. These values when they come, see your application will interact with database. Some logics you'll be writing. Verify whether the username and password is there or not, and then you'll say welcome, not welcome. So this entire logic you have to write. Now can you write this logic using HTML5? It is not going to be possible. Understood? Understand what a web application is first. So since it is not possible to write this code with HTML, we have to use some good programming language. HTML is used only for presentation. Why you can't write the logic using HTML? Because it does not have keywords, control statements, okay, operators, nothing is there. Only tags are there. Using that tag, what maximum you can do? Display. So that's the reason you can't write the code using HTML. So now what you have to do? You have to write this code using some good programming language. So the language what we'll be using now is Java. The reason is you'll understand because Java is having very rich libraries. Whatever libraries are needed for developing what? Your application, all those libraries are there in Java, ready-made. So that's the reason we'll choose. So now what we do is, whatever logic you want to write, that logic is called as business logic. Whatever logic you write now, when the values come into your application, okay, you'll write some logic. That logic is called as business logic. That will be written with help of Java language. Done? And one more logic what you'll be writing is presentation logic. This is how your web application will be developed now. And here you'll be using HTML language. Simple. This is what your servlet is. Understand what is your servlet? It is very simple now. Okay. So your servlet is going to be this itself, and this will be on simple Java file now. End of the day, this is on Java file now. You can give any name, hello.java. So in your Java file, you'll be having a combination of two things now. You'll be writing Java also plus HTML also. Java you'll be using for writing logic, HTML you'll be using for writing presentation. Over. Understood? So this makes one web application. So that's it. So now here entire business logic means entirely depends on the requirement of the application now. Simply you cannot write any logic you found. You'll collect the requirement from the customer. Based on that, you'll start writing your logic. I told transferring money from one account to another account or booking a ticket, whatever this process, this you have to understand and write your logic here. That is business logic, or we call it as domain logic. Okay. So now this is a web application. So you got the difference between what is a website and what is a web application. So when you are developing a web application, see, we do face some recurring problems. You develop an application, you are going to develop these web applications for many organizations, many types of organization. Many types means what? Many domains. You can develop this application for telecom domain, or you can develop it for banking domain, transportation domain, whatever domain. So whatever domain you develop, business logic is separate. That is separate because depending on the company you will be writing the business logic, or depending on the domain you write the business logic. But all these applications have some common problem. While developing, see, we saw the problems in writing what? Website. Now we'll see the problems for writing web application. What is the common problems we face while developing a web application? So you can list now. So the different problems, I'm introducing servlet only to you. Different problems a developer faces. Different problems a developer faces while developing a web application. Let's see this now. What are the problems you face? Let it be any domain, that is irrespective now. Understood? See, the first problem what you face, the major problem is you need a web support. Your application needs a web support. Means your application should have the ability to accept the request from what now? Browser. See, your application will be kept in on server now. Which server? We'll be keeping it in a server called as JEE server. What is JEE server now? A rich platform which gives you all this support now. I'll go on writing all the problems. The JEE server will give you all this support now. Instead of you writing it. So you written an application and put it into the server. So then the request will be made from the browser. Clients make the request from the browser. So when the browser makes the request to your application has to accept the request, okay, and give back the response. So that is actually called as web support. Understood? Means your application should be able to accept the request and give back the response now. All this will be happening via internet. So that's why we need web support. So here we say, yeah, means simple words, if you, this is complicated for you, your application should accept a web request and give web response. Simple words. More technical, if you want to understand about this, we need HTTP support. Yes or no? Means both will be communicating in what? HTTP language. Browser also will talk in HTTP, server also will talk in HTTP, and the communication is required now. So that is one support what we need. Understood? More in detail I'll tell you. This is only theory. Next when you start doing practicals, I'm only introducing you theoretically today. What is SERVLET? When I do practicals, then time it will become very clear for you what is SERVLET. Understood? All these problems. Then next, we have some problem called as input output. Correct? Value should come from the browser into your application, and from the application value should go to what? Client. From the client it should come to server. Server it should go to client. Now think broadly. You think these two values. Okay, like you might enter name ABC. You might enter the values XYZ. Okay, you log into Gmail, you log into Yahoo. Think broadly, practically. When you do this, Gmail, Yahoo application are somewhere in US, but you are logging in the values, means you are providing the username password sitting in India in your computer. So values from what you have typed in your computer should go to what? The application which is running in US. So that's how the data will get transmitted from there, and again it will come back from there to here. So this input output is very vital. So we need this support. Understood? This is going to be common for all domains now. You write any application. So, but this is the support what we need. Then we need networking support. They should be connected. You have to write the network logic. See, all this infrastructure we have to code now. We have to code two things. One is the infrastructure code, and apart from that you have to write the domain logic. Two things you have to write. Business logic. Then again, continue. We have to write the logic for scalability. Scalability means what? If your application is good, many users will log in now. Yes or no? And we can't predict the number of users. As more and more users log into your application, it should still support. Okay, I mean to say, like see Facebook. Can Facebook restrict the number of users? How many users come, what they say? Welcome they say. Okay, they cannot restrict, because if they restrict, say only 1 lakh users, 2 lakh users, what will happen? Nobody will use their application only. And that too, most of the users will be coming simultaneously. At one time only they will be logging. How many people? 1,000, 10,000 people will be logging at the same time. You have used the applications, but now start seeing the complexity of all the web applications. Okay, so that is scalability. We need, means it should be scalable. Any number of users come, it should be able to support now. Then next, we need something called as multi-threading support. Now, in Java, scalability will be achieved with the help of what you know? Multi-threading. Means, and one more topic called as resource management. Two things they'll use for scalability. Means this is a combination, all these three are a combination. I'll be explaining you this very clearly when I start showing you output, practical output. Yeah? See, the idea is here, what you know, every time a request comes, you in your application, what you can do, for every request, means one user, one request is nothing but one user. When he makes a request, you have an option. Finally, it is what? Java file now. How does your Java file execute? The object has to get created, and then only it has to execute the code. That's how the Java program has been designed, Java language has been designed. So when a user makes a request, okay, and he's trying to, the logic is trying to execute, it has to create an object and then only it has to execute. Now imagine, 1,000 users come in, and 1,000 objects have to be created, yes or no? So every time a user comes in, one object has to be created, and whenever the response is given, the object has to be destroyed. When user makes a request, one object has to be created. Again response is given, it has to be destroyed. Like this, it has to go on. So why do you want to unnecessarily create objects and destroyer? My question is that. You can use only one object. Understood? Only one object you create. Unlike in Java, you got multi-threading, which is a very rich platform. You actually create one pool here now. One thread pool you create. Some threads you maintain. Java is very strong in what? This is thread pool. This is thread pool. Some threads will be maintained in a pool. So every time one request comes, this object will not be created and destroyed. What will happen? One thread will come outside the pool, executes this logic, goes back to the pool. Understood? For every request, every user, what will be happening now? One user makes a request now. One thread will come outside the pool, executes this logic, again it will go back to the pool. Why it is going back to the pool? So that again if one more client comes, the same thread can come and execute, no?
Object will be created at that time.
Object will be created first time. Okay, after that it will be going on using it. That's it. More than that, nothing will happen. First time the object will be created. After that, what happens? The threads will come. It will go on executing it. Only one time the object will be created. That is what is resource management. Understood? So this is what will be happening. And this means even if for 10 users come, 20 users come, no, these threads all will come and they'll be executing this parallelly. Even if 10 or 20 users come. So even if you want to make your application scalable, only thing what you'll be doing here, no, you'll be increasing the number of threads. If more and more users come, what you'll be doing? You'll be increasing the number of threads. Supposing 1,000 users are coming, create 1,000 number of threads. 20,000 users are coming, create 20, increase it to 20,000. Like that you will be doing it. All this I'll be showing you with example. That time you'll be understanding it very clearly. But this is the problem. I'm just identifying the problems what we face while developing a web application. Okay, so we need resource management. Then we need what? Scalability. And also we need, as you put the question, when should that object be created? That is called as what? Lifecycle management. When should this object be created? Yes or no? So these are questions. So all that we'll get the answer when you start learning SERVLET. So lifecycle management. Then there are more problems you face, like security. Then you might face some problems are there. Just a second. See, you should be able to collect input values. Input values also. The user is sending some value. No, your application should have the ability to accept the input values. Then next, so memory management. There are a lot of problems we face. Means garbage collection and all that. When the object should be created, when they should be destroyed. Then the most important, okay, is session management. I'll be explaining you all this. Don't worry. So like this, various problems we face while developing what? Web application. Okay, so when you are writing any web application, you have to write the logic for first all this, then you have to write what? Business logic. Understood? You have to write you have to solve all these problems. Still more are there. I'll be showing you. Okay, so you have to first write the logic for all this and then write your business logic. I mean to say, first you have to write the code for what? Your infrastructure, and then you have to write the logic of business logic or domain logic. But the problem is, you will like to write it once, but for every application you have to go on writing the same thing. No, today you are developing a bank application. You have to write this first code, then you have to write this. Understood? Tomorrow I will write a railways application, again infrastructure code, then you have to write business logic. Every time what do you want to write? And in fact, we developers cannot write all this very properly. Understood? Because here, after developing infrastructure code, you have to do testing and all that. How good your application means, infrastructure is, all that. So that's why it's very difficult for us to develop this. But there was no option earlier. We were doing it. So that is what happened. There are some vendors who means we wanted this support from some third-party people. We were interested to write the domain logic or business logic, but we were not interested in writing what? This infrastructure code. So that is when some third-party vendors came in. Server vendors they are called. Means they'll write all this code in one software and give it to you. And that software is nothing but on server. So they'll write all the code and give it to you. And that's when they started providing. And those solutions were called as proprietary solutions. Proprietary solutions, and they were giving proprietary API. Proprietary API means what? Okay, like ABC server will give some API. This is one vendor now, some company will give an ABC server and he'll give his own API. API means what? Set of classes and interfaces. For us to write the logic, he'll give one API. Then XYZ server will come. So he'll give one own API. So this API will be ABC API. This will be what? XYZ API. This is one server. They'll tell if you want to use our server, use this API. Okay. So again, if you want to use XYZ server, one more API you have to learn. See, all these servers are giving the same solution, agreed. Finally, all these servers will be giving what? Same solution. But problem is, for using one server, you have to learn what? One new API. One new API means one set of new classes and interfaces. That was the problem. So developers were facing this much of difficulty. One, they had to write all the code. Two, if they leave it, they have to learn what? Proprietary API is like this. There is no standard only. Understood? And we are finding it very difficult. Learning is one part, problem. Other part was what? If you use an API, you have to put that code into their corresponding server only. Supposingly, I will write some logic using ABC server today. Tomorrow, one more new server will come called as PQR server. It is having excellent performance in all this. So now I want to migrate from ABC server to PQR. I cannot move. Why? Because their API will be different. They will be having a different set of classes and interfaces. So now again full project you have to write what? Using their API. Application could not be migrated. If you write your code and put it into one server, it was fixed. You are getting tightly coupled. Tightly coupled means what? Attached to one server. These were the heavy problems what the developers were facing. Understood? You got the two problems now. One problem is rewriting the logic. Second problem is learn proprietary APIs for every problem. This was becoming for all our problems. So this was becoming a headache. That is when Sun entered. I am giving the history of Servlet, how Servlet actually came into existence. So that is when you have got clear with this now. So what happened? Sun came in now. So they said, okay, we will set the API. They set it. Sun sets what? Specification. They said for all the server vendors. Listen, all you server vendors, do not give your proprietary APIs. Our developers are not interested in learning it. They want on standard API. They are finding it very difficult to learn. Means we are finding it very. That's what Sun entered and told them. Okay, you don't go on giving your APIs, so we will give you some standards and some interfaces. They release some interfaces. Okay, and Sun's, how do you set a specification? By using interfaces. So when they set this API, what happened? See, that API will be learned by two people. One is the server vendors and two means is the application developers. This is the story here, how actually Servlet came into existence. Application developers. So server vendors learn to what? Implement. And application developers learn to use it. Both are learning the same API. I'll be teaching. That's what is API now. Next I'll be covering. Okay. So we are starting with Servlet now. That's what I'm teaching you. So both will learn this. So we only learn to use it. These people will be implementing it. So in API, if you ask me again what is API, very simple. I'll tell you. So I'm writing here Servlet API. If you want to understand the meaning of this, full form you'll know. Servlet Application Programming Interface. API full form you know. But learn it like this. IPA. Learn it in the ulta way. Definition I'm giving you now. I stands for set of classes and interfaces needed to program an application. That's the definition of API. Set of classes and interfaces needed to program an application. Which application? Servlet application. Like this, Sun has released many APIs. One more API which I already learnt. JDBC API. Means if you want to do Java database connectivity, you got some interfaces now. Set of class here again. Set of classes and interfaces needed to program an application. Which application? Java database connectivity application. Next, JSP API. Means if you want to write any presentation logic, you'll be learning what? JSP API, like that. So like this, Sun goes on releasing the standards. Okay, but one standard will be for one vendor. Like JDBC API is the standard for whom now? Database vendor. Okay, but Servlet API is a standard for whom now? Server vendors. So for one vendor they'll release. Okay, so and they'll be releasing it, and these vendors will be implementing. So powerful Sun is. So fine. So both of will learn. These also, both of us will learn the same thing. Finally, we'll write the code and put it into the server now. Understood? So now the next thing is, how does Sun, means here what they are doing, they are releasing some interfaces. Now why they are using interfaces? It should be very clear. Interfaces do not contain what? Any implementation. It has only abstract methods, only declaration it will be having. Okay, that implementation will be done by whom now? Server vendors. That is the idea here. So this is how the data types, which on Java's data types will be used here in programming. So they actually, Sun sets the interfaces, these people will implement it. So you'll only use it. Use it means what? You'll only go on calling methods here. Some method you call, automatically you start getting the output, but that implementation is actually done by whom now? Server vendors. Understood? So this is the whole story here. So here one standard API came out now, and this API is containing all this now. Understood? Means the server vendors will be implementing all this, and then next we needed one standard API for programming. That was one headache, no? We needed one standard API for programming, because unlike earlier what was happening, one vendor is giving one API, which was very difficult. So we needed one standard API. So these were the different problems. Understood now? Underlying, see this. These were the different problems a developer faces while developing a web application. All that has been resolved now. How? With the introduction of Servlet. So if you learn this technology, see, finally what you'll be doing is, you'll be learning only this, which one? Servlet API. Once you learn the Servlet API, you'll write your code. After learning and writing the code using Servlet API, what will you do next? You'll write your code, you'll write your application, you'll put it into the server. Once you put it into the server, what will happen? All this support by default you'll get now. You'll not write one single line of code. That is the beauty here. And this API means Sun is telling one thing loud and clear, or Servlet technology is telling loud and clear only one word. You do not bother about the infrastructure support. Clear? Just concentrate on your business logic. Nothing more they are telling. Understood? So here, using that API, you can. That is the reason using Servlet API you can develop your web application so fast. Understood? So see, by the time, means within 2-3 days you'll already be developing what? One web application. So fast you can develop. We have got a massive requirement now. We want to develop what? Web application. Next class only you'll be getting what? One web application output now. So easily you can develop. Only reason is because of all this support for us. So today a developer is having full luxury. Full luxury you are having. Everything is ready made for us. Only what you have to do? Learn all the existing things and use it. More than that, nothing you are doing. Clear? So this is how it stands now. So now all this solution, yes, this entire solution is coming from where now? Solution for all these problems is coming from where now? Yeah, next. Solution for all problems has been said by, means it has been put in the Servlet API now. Solutions for all your problems have been put in the Servlet API. Means yes, Servlet will support you what? Web support. Servlet will take care of what? Input output. Servlet will take care of what? Networking. Servlet will take care of what? Scalability. It will take care of what? Multi-threading. Everything. Understood? So before we get the output, see, generally most of the institutes what they do, first day only they'll get the Servlet output. You should not do that. First you should understand what is the history of Servlet, why we are using it, and then if you code, it will become more interesting. So this is theory. Definitely you'll be going into practicals. That time you'll only clearly understand all this subject. There I'll start coding and putting it into the server. You'll only start understanding how you are getting all this support. Clear? So fine. So this is the whole idea now. Okay. So now say we need a standard API. One more thing now, very crucial. Okay. So that standard API, who is releasing now? Sun is releasing. So we will be writing our business logic using what? Their API, Servlet API. Understood? It is Java only. That obviously when they are giving classes and interfaces, it's part of what? Java only. So fine, they'll be releasing that API. These vendors will be implementing it. So when they're implementing it, what happens? So here is where one concept comes. We need one special runtime environment, and that special runtime environment is only called as what? Servlet container. They have implemented it. Because they are implementing that API, that is why the logic gets executed. Understood? So here, that's why we call it as Servlet container. Now what is container? If you ask me the definition, see, this is the definition of Servlet container. This is a very important interview question. Please note it down. Servlet container, what it is? It is a special runtime environment and has the implementation of Servlet API, and it is supplied by whom now? Server vendors. Various server vendors are there. Example, from Apache company, their server is called as what? Tomcat. Red Hat company, their server is called as what? JBoss. IBM company, their server is called as what? WebSphere. So all these servers are having what? Servlet container. So you can write your code and put it into any server now. That is the idea here. Okay, so means there are so many servers. Whichever server you feel is having very good performance, you choose that. Understood? So that is the story here. See, you want to buy a car, you decide depending on your budget now. The budget, performance and all that. Similarly, you want a server here, you decide which server you want depending on what? Your budget, performance and all that. So finally your application will be running there, but some vendors are implementing very powerfully this support. They are giving very powerful support for all these problems. Some vendors give average support. So depending on your budget and all that, you can decide to use your servers. Clear? This is the whole idea. So whatever I gave you now, this is a very important interview question. This one screen what I have written here. What is SERVLET? Okay, why do you use it? These are all very important interview questions. From interview point only I am covering all this. And this is all again asked in interview also, not only in interview, even in what? That exam, SEWCD exam. Clear? Generally most of them think if I get an output of SERVLET it is over. That's not the case. Entire story you should know here. So fine, we'll clear all this now. So shall I clear this part? Okay, this part and the solutions we'll be getting now. Yes. I'll do one thing, I'll clear this. So we'll list some interview questions now which is generally asked. See, there are many answers for SERVLET which you can give. But your first priority answer would be the same which I wrote it at the beginning of the class. What is SERVLET? SERVLET is a web technology. Okay, SERVLET is a web technology used for developing what? Yeah, that is okay. SERVLET is a, but you can add one more point there extra, that's it. A technology from Sun Microsystems. Earlier it was, actually this was released by Sun. Understood? Sun is a web technology from Sun Microsystems and is used for developing web applications or server-side applications. This is one definition. See how powerful it looks. So this is what the interviewer likes to hear. And if you give such kind of answers, they are really impressed and your chances of getting job goes higher. Understood? Unlike your definitions, whatever you have. SERVLET, see you can also give this answer. SERVLET is a server-side Java program. This is also a very good definition. Server-side Java program. Yes or no? The program is executing on what? Server-side. That's also one more definition. And next, okay, SERVLET is a sub-specification of what? JEE. JEE is a super specification. Understood? For developing what? Both web application and distributed application. But this is a sub-specification of JEE now. This also is perfect. See why I am making you understand all this is, generally when you read books, these words you will come across very consistently. Specification, technology. Technology means what? Ready-made solution. Web technology means ready-made solution. You don't have to write anything from the scratch. It will be ready, you have to just use it. Then you'll come with some, okay, server-side Java program. Correct? That's also some terminology now. You have to understand what it is. Next, it is a sub-specification of JEE. This also you should understand now, very clearly. Understood? It's a subspecification of Java Enterprise Edition. What is Java Enterprise Edition? It's the rich platform for developing what? Web applications or enterprise applications. So that's how it goes. Then next, SERVLET is a specification. Yes or no? I wrote it, I think. Yeah, specification set by Sun for server vendors. If they had not set the specification, you know what was the problem? All the server vendors will give the solution, but with a non-standard API. That is the problem. Then next, SERVLET is a container. Next, SERVLET is an API. See how many definitions for SERVLET I am giving? All are perfect and valid. So depending on the interview question, you have to give this answer. Simply don't by heart and tell all the 6 statements in one line. Sometimes he'll ask one question from one angle. So that time you have to pick one answer from here. Understood? So he'll ask, what is the implementation of SERVLET API called? You should tell it's a container, like that. What is SERVLET? It's a web technology used for developing what? Web application. Okay, and then it will be twisted. I'm not telling straight away answers. What classes and interfaces you used in for coding what? Your SERVLET. I use SERVLET API. So I have to give you answers. Looks quite interesting. Understood? And you'll also feel impressed. So all your interview question and answers are in there in just 6 points. Now let me list. SERVLET is an API. I told you, no. Let me list the classes and interfaces present in what? This API. Some of the classes and interfaces present here are one by one. I'll note right here. See here. HTTP SERVLET. This is on class. Then next, HTTP SERVLET request. HTTP SERVLET request. Then HTTP SERVLET response. So these are the different classes and interface you'll be learning now. Here C stands for class, I stands for interface. Then HTTP session. Then next, SERVLET config. SERVLET context. Seventh one is request dispatcher. So if you learn these 7 interfaces, you believe or not, you can finish writing a web application. That's it, because you have got the entire infrastructure support. You only know how to use this classes and interfaces now. That's it. These are all interfaces. Done? So this is how you will be doing it now. Next, SERVLET is a library. Yes or no? No? Finally, what is it? For the developer, it's a library, no? We'll use this library and develop a web application. So that's on. This is a library. Okay. And one more thing is, these all classes and interfaces are kept in one package. They are present in one package called as. Okay, I'll write it here. They are present. The package what all these classes and interfaces are present are javax dot servlet dot http package. All these classes and interfaces. Done. So getting the idea now, what is SERVLET? So fine, shall I clear this side now? This side I'll clear, what I have written. Now, what is JEE now? Yesterday we covered what is, or last class we covered what is JEE, but still we'll see some definitions. JEE is what? It's a platform for developing web applications. I have given these definitions yesterday for you. The next point, it is a server, we say. JEE is a server. Next I told, it is a super specification. And under this you have got some subspecifications like what? Servlet, JSP, EJB and all that. More are there. And lastly, JEE is what? Is a infrastructure. This is what I gave you the definition. So this is a short interview question for you. What is the difference between JEE and SERVLET? And Java also. Now what is Java? Java is a language. So there is huge difference between Java, JEE and SERVLET. So finally, where I'll write Java definition? Write it somewhere. Okay, here I'll write above all this. Java is a programming language. Means using this language only they have built what? SERVLET technology. Using Java language, SERVLET technology has been built. Means it's a Java based technology. SERVLET is a Java based technology. So short interview question, difference between what? Java, JEE and SERVLET. Clear? So fine, shall I clear all this now? Okay, fine. See the same support, let's compare now. How many vendors are giving for developing what? Web application now. Now clearly understand. See from the Sun point of view, what they have done is, they have given you a language called as Java. Okay, then their technology, they call it as SERVLET. Their platform, they call it as JEE. Then here the servers, they come from many vendors like Tomcat from Apache, then WebSphere from IBM, then JBoss is one more server which comes from Reddit. Plenty are there, man. I'm just listing few. One more is there, Glassfish, which comes from Sun company only. So many vendors are there. You can choose anyone. Now the same support, let's see how you got from Microsoft people. So once everything is ready, all this when it is ready, now what will Microsoft do? Copy it, imitate it. That's what Microsoft does. Fine. So language, what is their language called now? C#. Then next, technology. What? ASP. Then their platform is called as what? .NET. And their server is called as IIS server. Full form is there, Internet Information Server. Same, ditto to ditto. So now see, like this you are getting support from many vendors. But two major vendors who are giving support today are in the market, these two. These are the two major vendors. But again you cannot compare Microsoft with Sun, it's supreme. Which one? Sun. Because Sun will give you a solution to all the problems. Okay. Apart from these two, there are other small time vendors who PHP, Python, Ruby on Rails and all that. So see, when you are having small applications, you can develop with what? PHP, Python and all that. But when your application or requirement of the application grows and your application becomes complex, that is when you have to depend on Java itself. Now you might have a question, what is so great thing about Java? Java is very simple. Language is very, very simple. In Java, your Java language is over within 30-40 days. Nothing more than that. Hardly what is there in Java? Control statements, keywords, data types, all that. If you learn that, Java language is over. Okay. The only thing is why Java is so powerful is because of its libraries. That is the power of Java. Unlike other people, they are not giving support like that. So that's why they tell PHP is easy. Why PHP is easy? Because PHP is used in the development of small applications. You will develop your application and tell PHP is easy. But when a complex application is given to you, you cannot develop that at all with what? Python, PHP and all that. So that time you will have to sit and write all the code and all that. So there is a lot of difficulty. You have to learn new languages, new syntax only you have to learn, and all the code you have to write. In fact, they are more difficult as compared to what? Java. So learning Java, why it takes time is, language is very simple, it will be over in 30-40 days. Java takes time in learning the libraries. So you are learning one library now. Which library? SERVLET library. So that is why you take time now of what? 8 to 10 days. But if you learn this library, you can develop your application in 2 days now. But if you don't have a library, how long it will take? You have to write the logic for what? Infrastructure also plus business logic also. And writing infrastructure logic is more complicated than what? Business logic. Sometimes infrastructure support will take 2 years, but your business logic will be what? Only 2 months. So that much of time will be wasted when you are writing code for infrastructure, some problems. So that is the thing. So that is why, see, I told you in the last class, PHP, Python and all small applications. But later on when the company becomes bigger and they want a big complex application, even PHP will be migrated to Java. Similarly .NET, the next competitor, what you can see. But again you cannot compare. Finally all applications will be migrated to Java only. This is how powerful it is. So instead of taking roundabout route and reaching Java, directly you learn Java and move into Java. Now you have got very good career also. Understood? So here you can become a developer in PHP, you can become a developer in Python. Understood? You can become a developer anywhere. But if you become a developer in Java, you have got more scope. Because most of the applications are coded always on Java only. Millions and millions and millions of applications. This information also why I gave you, because generally will be talking in market, what day after tomorrow Java will not be there. What joke? People discuss now, a new language is coming, tomorrow it will be gone, Java will not be there. 25 years has passed, still nothing, it is irreplaceable. Why? Because see, in Java the only alternate, it is adapting to the changes. Please understand what is Java doing. It cannot be replaced. How it adapts means 30-40 days you will finish the language. For any problem you are, they are releasing what? They are not changing the syntax of the language, they are not inventing new language. Okay, everything will remain same as it is. They will only add the library. That's it. That's how it goes on adapting. Unlike other languages, C, C++ and all, they will change of what? It will not support only some problems. But here what will happen? It will be supported with the help of libraries. So very powerful. So when you go on developing applications, all this you will start understanding very clearly. Okay? This is the whole story. So we rule out this, and even we rule out other small time vendors like what? Small time vendors. Same support, small time vendors. PHP, Python, and all that. Roll this. So this one gone, this one gone. Only success is this. But I compared and made you understand what is the support we have. We developers having the market for developing web applications. Clear? Fine. So I think this information of Servlet is sufficient. Now this is theory part. Now let's little talk about the theory part of Servlet. Now we'll be shortly starting off with coding Servlet. Okay. So to code Servlet programs, there is some prerequisite knowledge you should have. Okay, there is some prerequisite knowledge you should have, and there is some that I'll tell you now. What is the prerequisite knowledge required for coding what? Servlet. So end of the day you are developing a web application, that is Servlet. So the prerequisite knowledge or requirement you take, prerequisite requirement for coding and learning Servlet. 1. So you should be good in Java language. Very powerful, you should be in Java language. Means, what in Java language means? You should know the data types. You should know the operators. Means addition operator, subtraction operator, all that kind of things. Control statements like if else. Then the various keywords. So if you are good in this, okay, then you should also be good in some library. Which will be the library, like you should know some classes in java.sql package. Then you should know some classes in java.util package. Now you might ask why. Reason is simple. See, your application will connect to database now. So to connect to database and all, why do you want to write the code? Use the library support. So that's what is Java telling. So and those classes and interfaces are present where now? SQL package. So now you will connect to database. The user makes a request, you will be connecting to database. Now from the database you will fetch the values into your application. Now in application you are having so many values, you have to store these values in data structures now. So that is when you need what? Support for data structures, linked list, array list and all that. All those classes and interfaces are present where? Util package. So in developing a web application, all these are required. This library support you need. Java.lang package. All these packages you should know very powerfully. This library means you should know the language and you should know this library. And one more thing, even in this data types, simply if you say, oh, I know data types, int, float, byte and all, no, you should be very strong in other data types. Like which one? Java's user defined data types. Class, subclass, abstract class and interface. So you should be very strong in the user defined data because we will be using this only to code now. So that's what you should be knowing now. So this is the minimum first requirement. Second requirement would be you should be knowing HTML because we will be coding all HTML output finally. Then you should be knowing database also. So if you are having knowledge of this, easily you can develop what? Servlet. Very easily you can develop. It's not at all a problem because in Servlet you will be learning what? Hardly some 8 to 10 classes and interfaces over. Very easily you can develop. Fine, that's the prerequisite requirement. Now, next, that is requirement. Now there are some softwares required. You have to check whether you are having all this in your system or not before you get the first output of what? Servlet. So the different softwares required are, one is Java. Because if you install Java, you get what? JDK kit. Understood? So this is required. Then next, you need some database, either Oracle or MySQL, because I'll be using any of these two. Then you need a browser. Understood? Any browser you can use, IE, Internet Explorer, Chrome or Firefox, anything like this you can use. Then next, you need one editor, good editor you need. And that would be, I'll be using Eclipse. You have to type your Java program, means you cannot type in Notepad and all here. Understood? We use some good editors like Eclipse. So lastly, we need one server now, and that server would be called as JEE server. It is called as JEE server. Okay, and which server I'll be using is Apache Tomcat. Tomcat is the server name, Apache is the company. So all this I have covered, and this means this side I have covered everything, and here I have shown you installation of what? Java. You should know this installation, install it, all this database I have shown you, all that. Browser will be there default in your computer only. Which one? IE, Internet Explorer. If you are using Windows, it will be there. Extra, if you want anything like this, Chrome, Firefox, if you want, you can install it. That's your wish. Editor you have to install. So all these installations I have shown, but today I will be showing you how to install what? Tomcat. So keep everything ready. So once you keep everything ready, then only you can start coding now. Which one? Our first web application. So this is the prerequisite things what you should be ready with. Clear? Clear with all this? So only what I have to show you is now how to install what? Tomcat. Understood? Once I finish introducing you Tomcat or the JEE server, so then we can start coding. We'll be moving into practicals. Theory is over now. We have to move into practicals. Shall I clear all this now? Okay, so now I'll show you how to install Tomcat. See, we have given you DVDs. Okay, when you join cluster, we have given you DVDs. In the DVDs, it contains all the softwares what you need now, like which I listed. Okay, so you can install all the softwares from the DVD what you have collected. And for installation, please refer to my video classes. Java installation, how I'm doing, database installation, how I'm doing. Okay, please refer to that. You can, if you have any doubts, you can refer to that. Fine. See, like this is the software folder we'll be giving. The folder name would be what? Cluster softwares. In this we'll give you everything. Okay, like API. API contains what? Java docs. Whatever docs we'll be using, it will be containing that. Then next, browsers like Chrome, Firefox, everything is kept here. Database, MySQL, Oracle, all that is kept here. So like this we'll be giving it to you in these folders. So here, see editors, Eclipse will be there. Clear? Whatever, TextPad, whatever, Edit Plus. So then here you'll find one folder called as servers. So open that, you'll find your Apache Tomcat.zip. Means we give it in compressed versions. Because there'll be very big files, we'll compress it and write it in DVD and give it to you. Okay, so fine. Now same, we need to install this. See, to install Tomcat now, there are two versions you have. One is copy paste version. The other one is installable version. Means EX installable version. See, we are using this. If you copy and paste right now, installation is over. Other one is the installable. Means click, next, you will go now. So both are correct. You can use any option. Okay, but we will be installing what? Means we will be using copy paste version. This server will be going with copy paste version. So what? See, now I will show you. So all you have to do is what now? First extract it. Right click. You can use any decompressor. Okay, I'll use 7-zip and I'll say extract. Here, that's it. Now that's it. Your Tomcat is installed. Installation of Tomcat is over. You just extract it also what? Installation is over. Okay, it's copy paste. So what I'll do now, see, I showed you I was in F drive, if you notice. In F drive, okay, I've got this servers and I extracted this. Generally, you should not keep all your softwares where? In other drives, D drive, E drive, F drive and all that. So you have to keep, in cluster especially, or you new developers, maintain this standard. All your software should be kept in what? C drive. It's always advisable. So that's why I'll cut this. I'll cut this and then what I'll do? I'll paste it into C drive. Go to C drive, paste it. It's already installed now. Installation is over. If you paste it only, it's over. So now I'll explain you this folder structure. It's very important now, because after developing our application, we'll put our application to this server only. So this is the server which will give you the solution for what? All the problems which I listed now. Understood? So now let's start. So that's why you should know very clearly all things about your server. So I'll explain the folder structure of this. I'll be explaining what? The folder structure of now Tomcat. So see this. I'll open this folder Apache Tomcat. In this you'll find many folders. So one by one I'll explain you all the folders now. So it is there in what? C drive, Apache, Tomcat. Fine. So in this, see, there are many folders. We are not interested in all the folders. We'll select some few folders which is very important for the developer. Okay. Some of the important folders which the developer should be aware are, one would be bin here. The next would be conf. The next folder would be lib. This is the folder. The next would be lib. You can see it here, lib is there. And the next would be web apps. See, these four folders are very important for whom now? The developer. Yeah? So I'm introducing Tomcat now. Okay, fine. In bin folder, what is the bin folder containing? It contains .exe files and batch files. It contains exe and batch files, we say. So I'll open bin file and show bin folder and show you now. We'll be opening what? Bin folder and showing you now. Bin folder, see this. So it's containing what's here? Bat, some files. Other extensions are there, leave it. Bat files. Scroll down, you can see some exe files. So it's containing some files like that. So it contains exe and bat files. Okay, but the most important file for we developers is these two files, shutdown.bat and another would be startup.bat. These two. See this and this one and this one. These two are very important for us. If you want to start your server now, you'll click on what? Startup.bat. If you want to shut down your server, you'll be selecting shutdown.bat. Okay, so these two files are very, very important for us. If you want to start, startup.bat. If you want to stop, shutdown.bat, batch files. Clear? Other files are there, leave. So these two files are present in bin folder. And next, let's come to conf folder. The next folder. So the conf folder, okay, I'm in conf folder now. I'm in conf folder. So in the conf folder is used for configuring your server. Means sometimes you'll want to configure your server. So that time you'll be using this folder. Any configurations you want to apply for, do it for your server, you'll be using this. And to do that, you'll be using one main file called as, see this file here? Server.xml. You'll be using this file to configure what? Your server. Server.xml. This file is very important. Then next, it is present in conf. Then the next folder what I'll be visiting is lib. So what does the lib contain? Yeah, now very important. See, I told you Sun sets the standard by releasing some interfaces used for configuring server. Okay, I told you Sun sets the standard and they'll release the interfaces. And I told you vendors implement now. Vendors implement. So they'll implement. Finally, see, whenever you want to give Java classes to each other, what we do? All the classes we compress it and give it. And those compressed files are called as what? Jar files. Okay, so this is it. You can see here JSP API.jar, servlet API.jar. It is containing the implementation of what? Those interfaces. Servlet API and this one now. So these are the two jar files which are important for us. So vendors have implemented what? The interfaces released by Sun. So we will be using this only. So it is shipped. I told you that containers are supplied with what? Server vendors. So this is the implementation. Clear? So this is very important for us. And see, JSP-API.jar then other one would be servlet API dot jar. So this is only the library. This is only the library, or this is only the technology. High level we said technology. Technology is nothing but ready-made solution. Means we don't have to write the code from the scratch. That is in high level statement. In simple words, if you ask me what is technology, ready-made solution means what? Ready-made code. So how will Java provide you the code? Using classes and interfaces. We don't have to write the code now. They'll supply it. So in simple words, technology is nothing but what? Class and interfaces. And that is supplied with what? In the form of jar file. So finally technology is library. Library is nothing but jar files. They are all getting related. Technology is library. Library is nothing but jars. That's how they ship. Understood? So fine. This is lib. These two jars are very, very important. More jars are there. I'll be covering. But very important. Right now what we require, I'm showing you. Last one is web apps. That side. Okay. I didn't write here. No? What does it contain? 1 second. Contains what? Lib contains jar files. Which are the two? Servlet API.jar, JSP API.jar. Fine. Now web apps. Web apps is used for what you know? Deploying or hosting our web application. You'll write a web application now. So after writing a web application, you'll be putting it here only. You'll write your code now. You have to put it into the server. That's JW platform. This in this folder only. If you put your folder or application, it's finished. Deploying is only on technical word. Deploying means it's on technical word, which means what? What is the meaning of deploying? Deploying means it's a process of putting an application into the server. That's it. It's on technical word. Deploying is the process of putting an application into the server. So this is how the folder structure of Tomcat is been designed. So if you are using it, you should know it very clearly what it is and all that. Clear? So your finished installation. Installation is not a problem here. This Tomcat installation is completed. But one thing is pending now. We have to change the port number. Installation is over. Okay. So I'll just change one small setting you have to change. If you do that setting, fully it is over now. Okay. Shall I clear all this now? See, we have installed many softwares. I told you. I have installed now Oracle and all that. See, the default port number of Tomcat. First we'll take this. Means what is port number? Whenever you install any software into your computer, it will occupy an address or port number, we say technically. Okay. So whenever you input Tomcat now, install Tomcat, it is 8080. That's the default port number of Tomcat. Fine. Similarly, when you install this one, Oracle port number would be 1521. That's the port number of Oracle. Okay. But when you install Oracle, means if you install Oracle 10G, 11G and anything like that, okay, one more application by default gets installed. One more application by default gets installed and it is called as Apex. One more application it is, Apex application. So now, when will you get this? When you install Oracle only you will get it. So this application will be running in port number 8080. It is already running now. Port 8080 is already occupied by whom now? Apex. It is occupied. Okay. So since it is occupied, now Tomcat cannot run properly. Why? Because Tomcat is also using what? 8080 port number. So what you have to do now? Change the port number of Tomcat. So I'll be showing you how to change the port number. And this setting you should do only if you are using Oracle database. If you are not using database, you can continue as it is. Because that time there will be no conflict. If Oracle is installed, then only you have to change this. Understood? So now see, we can change this port number. Again, I'll change this. Okay. Some standard port numbers. There are some standard numbers. Changes to some standard. Means in industry we follow some standard. So I'll just list some of them. Like example, I can change it to 8090, 90, or I can say 808888 9999 or 9090, anything like this. It's your wish. Any number you want, you change. But I'll be changing it to what now? 8090. Anything you can change. These are some standard numbers we use. So let me show you how to change the port number now. Okay? You have installed it. Installation is complete. Copy paste is only installation. But you only have to change the port number now. And you understood why the reason. The reason is what? Because Apex is occupying port number 8090. 8080. It's occupying 8080 Apex. So that's the reason we'll change it. So how do you change it? Now see, I have already given you the hint. If you want to do any configuration of your server, where will you go now? Conf folder. And I'll go to which one? Server.xml. That's how you have to understand now. Okay, if at all I want to change any server settings, I have to visit the conf folder. In conf folder there is one file called as server.xml. I'll change it there now. So let me show you. Shall I clear all this now? So you are in the conf folder now. This is conf folder. See, I will change the port number. This is conf. Go there in server.xml. Open server.xml. So generally you can open it with what? Notepad. Like this. It look. Understood? So see this server.xml. See, XML is also one more language. It's a new language, you might be seeing it. Don't worry. But XML is just, for time being you understand, it's a markup language. Markup language means what? It has tags, attributes, value. So only from that point of view you start seeing this file now. Tag, attribute, value, nothing more. So now see, there are a lot of things. I opened in Notepad. And here, see, you should scroll and visit one tag. Means you should come to see one tag called as this one. This tag you should come here. See, connector is the tag. Port is what? Attribute. 8080 is what? Value. Similarly, protocol is what? Attribute. This is the value. See, only from that point of view, otherwise you will not understand anything here. So XML is a markup language. So in this tag, and see, connection timeout is one more attribute. Attribute of what? Connector tag. These are all attributes of connector tag. So only you understand from that point of view. So it is here what you have to change. Change this to what? Whatever your number you want. And here only you have to change. There are many other tags here. There are many other tags. You will be changing the value of 80 in what? Connector port. This one, protocol is equal to HTTP 1.1. Here protocol is equal to HTTP 1.1 is there. There only you have to change what? Which one? Port number to 8080. So if you, okay, one more thing. See, the thing is, this file, if I open it in Notepad, it is not visible clearly. Okay. So better, you can open it in what? One more software I have installed, I use now, Edit Plus. Open it in Edit Plus. See here, it looks so neat and clean. Okay, open it on Edit Plus. So it's neatly organized now. See here, you have to visit which one now? Yeah, connector port. Now, see this. So don't share anywhere else. Change it here only. What is the port number? 8090. Change. Save. Control S you do. Otherwise it will not be applied. Save it. Understood? That's it. Over. Close that file. You change the port number. How easy it is. So what did I do to install? Copy paste. Then I change the port number of server.xml. Over. Now let's start the server to check whether it is working or not. Let's start the server to check whether it is working or not. So how do you start the server? See the folder structure. How do you start the server? Where I should go? Bin. That is how you have to understand this. I should go to bin folder. Here what I should do? Startup.bat. See, I am starting the Tomcat server now. So now it will start on what? Port number 8090. Understood? So I am saying startup.bat. I will double click. Just double click. You start seeing like this. So this is what clearly shows that your Tomcat is running, and you will get a message. Server startup in some milliseconds. So until and unless you get this message, server is not started. So you should get this message. Server startup in the screen you should open up. Okay. Next, if you want to shut down the server, what will you do? Shutdown.bat. See, it is shutting down. Done. So check whether it is working or not. So once again, see here, this is one step to check. Actually, you should apply two steps. Okay, one is, see, startup.bat, it should start like this. This is one way you have to confirm. Then one more confirmation do. It started now. At least let us make one request and see whether the server is responding now. Two steps you have to do for checking whether it is working or not. So once it is started, now see, I'll check whether the server is working or not. You can open this one, any browser, and type http://localhost. Just type 8090, that's all. HTTP localhost. Where is the server now? It's a stimulated environment. It's a stimulated environment. Browser, server are all in the same machine. If the server was in different machine, I have given that IP address. But since the server is in the same machine, I am telling what? Localhost. So now the browser will make the request. I told you now, client makes the request. Think in that way now. Client makes the request and now it will connect to the server. Once it is connected to the server, it will go to what? Means localhost. How it is connecting? It is searching for the server in the same machine, localhost. And when in the same machine, it will go to what? Port number 8090. Fine. Press enter. You should get this display. Now your Tomcat is running. So only after this is running, now what you can do, you can develop your application and put it into the server. So set all your environments clearly. You should finish installing Java, database, if you want edit plus, browser, and lastly server or Eclipse also. So complete, you have all the softwares installed so that we can start coding now. Clear? So now if you want to shut down the server, what you will do? Again, shutdown.bat. Clear and understand how to check? So I'll do it again. This is recommended. You should start, then what? Next step. Click http://localhost 8090 and it should display this. These two steps should happen. Server started, that screen also you should get, and this should also happen. Only then your server is up and running. Clear? So then next, startup.bat, I'll shut it down. See, I showed you how to install it. Let's summarize what I did. Summarizing very simple. I copied, pasted, server installation is over. Then what did I do? I changed the port number. After that I started startup.bat and I opened the browser and typed localhost. It is running. But for some people I'm telling, if you click on, now you have to understand this. If you click on startup.bat now, everything you will do like what I did. If I click on startup.bat, it will blink and go away. It will not start only like this. Server will not start. This is debugging tip I am giving to you now. Debugging. Understood? It will not start. The screen only will not come for you. So means server has not started. Server has not started. So when server has not started, there is no point in making the request now. Which one? HTTP localhost 8090. There is no point in making the request only. Clear? So you got the picture now. That how do you check? Steps to check whether Tomcat is running successfully. Done. So first step would be what? Start the server. The next would be what? Open browser and type this one, http://local. I'll copy it from there itself, or else simply errors might occur. http://localhost 8090. This is what you have to do now. So once you do this, it will open what? This URL will open what? It opens home page of Tomcat. So this should happen. Prepare all this environment. So now let's come to this. Sometimes, as I told you, what will not happen? See, I'm shutting it down. I'll come to your problem now. If it is not running, see this. Startup.bat, you start, but it will blink and go. So now there is no point in making the request as what? This one. It's not started only. But why didn't your server start? Question is that now. So if your server doesn't start, it doesn't mean that installation of Tomcat is gone wrong. Tomcat has been installed successfully only. Okay. So if server doesn't start properly, where's the problem now? It's not in Tomcat. The problem is in Java installation. The problem would be in Java installation. Understood? So if server doesn't start properly, problem is in Java installation. I will tell I installed Java successfully. No, that's not the way how you install it. That's not correct. There's one way. Generally, when you install Java, you'll be setting on path and class path now. You set it like that. Okay. So that time, while setting the path and class path, you should have used one variable name by Java_home. This is mandatory. When you're setting path, you should use this variable name, path and class path. Okay. So if you use this only, then only your Tomcat will run. Sometimes you'll give the value for path as directly what? C drive till bin. That is not recommended. So install it by using Tomcat. And when you start Tomcat now, what is Tomcat actually doing? It will be using this variable name. Tomcat is actually using the variable by name Java_home. So when it is searching that, it will not find. When it doesn't find, it will not start properly. So that is why if your server is not starting properly, better you refer to my Java installation class. Refer to that and install Java properly. So keep all the softwares ready now. Which one? Java should be ready, Tomcat should be ready, Eclipse should be ready, everything should be ready now. Only if everything is ready, then only you can start coding. So I'll show you this Java_home. You can refer to, if you have any doubts about this, refer to Java installation class. But Java_home is required now because Tomcat uses it internally. See this, I'll show you. If you go to computer, properties, advanced system settings, I'm showing you the environment variables. Environment variables, here you can see what? Java_home, I'm using it. That's why it is running successfully. Clear? Fine. Then the last thing what you have tried, one more point is, after writing your application, where is your application going to be deployed? Web apps. Write that folder also. See this. So next class we should be ready now for typing our web application. In Tomcat, web applications, I'm writing it and showing you. Reason is it's very, very important. So you also write it down. Web applications in Tomcat should be deployed in, now see, I'll show you where, the location. Web apps, this folder. There are some other folders here. Don't worry, I'm opening web apps. Don't worry. But this is the location. I'm copying and pasting the locations here. Should be deployed in this folder only. Yeah? Here only you have to put your, all this is very strict. I told you, we are using the ready-made platform. If you don't follow all these rules, you might write your code and put there, it will not run only. So only when you follow all these rules, then only it will execute. Because this is the way Tomcat has been designed. Clear with all this? Okay. So that's it then. Keep everything ready. In the next class, I'll get the first practicals. We'll start off now. First output of servlet. That's it.